welcome to this week's episode of A Lost Cause. I'm Shawna.
And I'm Annie.
And the time has come for us to talk about the freighter. We try to do our characters in, chronological order as much as possible. Last week we talked about our beloved Daniel Faraday, who is a member of the freighter crew. He is important enough to get his own episode.
And he's not really a part of it. When you think Daniel, you don't think freighter.
That's right. That's how we're introduced to him, but he kind of really expands beyond that. So what we're going to do is talk about some of the characters from the freighter. Pretty much everybody except Miles, because Miles is also going to get his own episode.
And we talked enough about Charlotte. Sorry for all you Charlotte lovers, but
we're still going to talk about her today a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe to start off, we'll just kind of explain, whenever we reference the freighter on this podcast, we tend to be pretty negative. So why don't we like the freighter?
We don't like the freighter because, it's just, it brings us good characters, like Daniel and Miles and Charlotte and Lapidus, but it also brings us bad characters, like Naomi, we don't care about, and Minkowski, we don't really care about, and
the captain.
The captain, that is Minkowski. Is
no,
it
like the guy that, ends up getting shot, yeah.
And, of course, Kimi.
Kimi the worst.
Yeah, so, just, lots of unwanted.
And I don't really like the scenes on the freighter. I just, I don't like them. Whenever in season 4 it kind of goes to the freighter, I'm sort of like, oh no, I don't want to see this. Even though, my beloved Desmond is on the freighter too. So let's start with, I think, one of the better characters from the freighter, Frank Lapidus.
We love Frank.
So who is Frank Lapidus?
So he's a pilot, and he was recruited on the freighter mission. The freighter's mission was to go to find the island, this giant ship, and kill Ben, but then also...
to find Ben.
Find Ben, dead or alive.
Dead or alive, yeah.
And then to kill everybody on the island, to, gas them, purge them.
But who was really aware that was actually the mission?
Daniel, I think?
No, I don't think Daniel. I think just Kimi... Maybe
Naomi. I think it was Naomi too. But Frank was brought there because they have a helicopter on the freighter, and to get from the water to the actual island. And Frank was going to be the one to... The pilot.
And Frank tells Michael that the reason he wanted to go was because he actually thinks Charles Widmore is a great man, and he's going to get to the bottom of, the flight that was found at the bottom of the ocean, and Frank is like...
And so Frank, actually, it's a very interesting scene. We see him watching the TV. It shows the dead pilot holding onto the steering wheel, and he calls in, and he's like, this isn't real. And they're like, what are you talking about? Of course it's real. And he's like, no. Where's his wedding ring?
Yeah.
He always has his wedding ring.
And why does Frank know this about the pilot?
Because he was supposed to be the one flying Flight 815 that day.
Flight 815.
But he slept in. Mm-hmm. That's why.
Like fate or coincidence, So yeah, he knew the real pilot, who of course is a frequent guest on J.J. Abrams' shows. I think he's been in all of his shows, and it's a very kind of brief cameo in Lost, but yeah, it was supposed to be Frank Lapidus. But, the island, if the island wants you there, it'll find a way to get you there. And so Frank ends up coming to the island as part of the freighter team. And what do we think about Frank?
At the start?
Just in general.
In general, we love him. He's a good character. He's a pretty heroic character.
Yeah.
A heroic side character, I'd also say, because he really only gets the one flashback scene.
Yes, was watching the TV, basically,
mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. The thing I find so interesting about Frank Lapidus is the change in his appearance. So when we see him in the freighter times, what does he look like?
just kind of like a pirate a little bit. Like, not really, but a sailor for sure. He's got like the white hair, a beard, the blue eyes.
And, and not very like well-groomed, I guess you could say. He favors the Hawaiian t-shirt, so seems like kind of an interesting character anyways. And then, yeah, like Frank is actually part of them getting off the island, right? And so he is one of the few people that knows kind of the lie, as it's called, about the Oceanic Six, that they were the only ones to survive. So he sort of becomes part of that circle of trust in the sense that he knows what really happened. So yeah, that's kind of his role in, getting everybody off. Well, not everybody, but the Oceanic Six off the island the first time. And then when do we see him again?
When Ben has swindled everyone up into convincing that they're going to go back to the island. They're on the plane, and then Frank is
the pilot.
Is flying
for like a Jira 316, is that?
Yes.
Yeah. And he looks totally different.
Mainly because he doesn't have the beard.
Well, no, but his hair is like slicked back and like, it's not flying all over the place. Yeah, he doesn't have the beard. But the thing about the actor is like, yeah, he's got these just brilliant blue eyes, hey? So it's probably part of the casting, just that he's unique looking. But I love the scene where, like, I guess he's just a pilot for Ajira Air now. And then he sort of looks back and like, he recognizes, Hurley, and he's like, oh, that's weird. And then Jack. And then you see it kind of slowly dawn on him, like, where are they supposed to be going again?
Guam. He says, Guam? We're not going to Guam, are we?
Yeah, so I feel kind of sorry for his co-pilot, right? Because, like, Frank knows.
And like, the co-pilot ends up dying, too.
In a very bad, graphic way.
Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do they have to do that? I'm not complaining, though. It's not, like... I'm lucky that that's the only stuff I'm exposed.
Yeah, that was pretty violent, though, actually. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, well, what did the co-pilot do that was so bad? Like, the island had no use for him, I guess. But Frank Lapidus comes back with the Ajira crew, and then he's part of that whole storyline, too. So he's another freighter character.
Yes, and he does not go back to the 70s. He stays in the boring 2000s.
Yeah, so remember when there's, like, the flash while they're still in the air... and so some people on the plane go back in time and others don't, right?
And my theory is that all of the candidates go back because it's Hurley, Kate, Jack, Sawyer.
Well, Sawyer wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Saeed.
Yeah.
And Jin. And Sun doesn't go back, so that's my theory that he was the Quan. I've mentioned it so many times, but it's such a good theory.
I think it's good evidence that when they say Quan on the wall, it means Jin and not Sun. So that leaves Frank, Ben, and Sun, and Locke. Alana, and kind of some of those,
Caesar.
people. Yeah. So that's a little bit about Frank Lapidus. I did want to mention one of my favorite moments on the show involves Frank Lapidus, or I guess one of my favorite Sawyer nicknames, when Sawyer calls him Kenny Rogers. Like, I just think that's hilarious.
Like, and I don't get it, but this...
It's, like, really funny. And then we see Frank in the Sideways very briefly, right?
I don't remember.
I think he's the pilot.
Probably, yeah.
Like, on that Oceanic 815.
And he just has a normal life.
Yeah. So kind of a mysterious character in terms of, like, we don't really know.
But he is a hero because he ends up getting them off the island in the end. He takes the last people off the island.
Yeah, at the very end. So he sort of helps people get off the island twice, right? And then the last time it's Richard, Sawyer, Kate, and Claire. Yeah.
And Miles.
And Miles. Yeah, so we think Frank Lapidus is great. He's got some really good scenes. I believe that the actor also appeared on the Getting Lost documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't look different at all, which
No.
was... The island must have something to do with that.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we always kind of give a little thumbs up to the actors that participated in that documentary.
Yes.
So that's Lapidus.
Ow.
Oh, crack. And then we have Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
And Naomi is one of the first people from the freighter that we encounter. At first, when they find her, we believe that she's from Penny's boat, right?
Yes.
And why is
And because she has a picture of Penny and Desmond.
that?
Like
The
a
famous
printed
picture.
a printed version of the picture. And it's in the book Catch-22, I believe.
Mhm.
I'm right about that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But is it in a different language or is it in English?
I think it's in a different
Yeah.
language. But yeah, and she parachutes. Once again, very gruesome. She's got like a tree branch sticking through her. And then Mikhail actually ends up helping them out. She turns out to be completely fine, which, because of the island's healing properties. And then she's kind of kept a secret for a while,
Mhm.
like by this little, like, Boy Scouts group.
Yeah. And this was like when Desmond had sort of the flash of them running through the jungle and, Charlie was supposed to get hit by that arrow in a pretty gruesome way. But anyway, that's when they find
gruesome.
Naomi, right? Yeah.
Yes. And then eventually... there's lots of trust issues to do with Naomi because I don't know if they should trust her or not. They tell Saeed. Saeed keeps it secret, but then Kate goes and tells Jack and Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's upset with her about that.
Well, she is a little bit it is a bit suspicious because when she's sort of delirious, isn't she like speaking a bunch of different languages and stuff? But I think because she has the photo of Desmond and Penny, Desmond's just sure that she's from Penny's boat. But she never really says that, right? Or
No. Maybe she does. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a bit confusing because as we get to know Naomi, she does seem trustworthy. Like there's a nice scene with her and Charlie.
Oh yes, I love that scene actually.
She tells Charlie oh, you guys have made kind of a comeback because you're like the dead rock star. They're both from Manchester. So it all seems on the up and up. She seems like she is really trying to get these people rescued. Of course, there's the issue with the sat phone, right? Like that the signal's blocked.
And that kind of made me upset that, how long that took. I feel like Saeed should have just been able to fix it, and then that could have been that.
Yeah.
Rather than, but.
But that's the whole necessity, though, of the looking glass, right? To
I
unblock the
know.
signal.
I know.
And so then in that intervening time, because right from the start, Locke is nope, she's not good, and we shouldn't phone, and they can't use the phone because the signal's blocked. But Locke and Ben are just really, really campaigning against.
And of course, nobody
contacting the
believes
freighter.
Ben, but he was right. He was right the whole time.
And Locke just has that viewpoint because Walt appeared to him, right?
I
Supposedly.
still hate that so much. It just seems so tacked on. And once again, there was no need for them to keep dragging out the Walt and Michael storyline. But
I guess it's a good explanation for why Locke is convinced that the freighter is bad. He's got to have, and it's sort of further support for this idea that the island has a special favor on Locke and gives him kind of insight that nobody else gets.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ben knows that Charles Widmore's looking for him and would send a team to the island to get him, right? So, I mean, of course, Ben knows a bit more than anybody else. He's been having, people like Tom, do surveillance on Widmore on the mainland. So, but why would Locke be against the freighter? It's just completely, there's got to be a reason why.
Another freighter-related thing that's important is the gas is a very prominent part of that whole storyline. because Ben believes that they're going to use the gas to kill everybody on the island. So,
Right.
you know, Juliet's trying to stop Daniel and Charlotte from releasing this gas in the Tempest station, and but they just want to neutralize it. But I'm not sure. Something tells me that they were going to use the gas. Because...
Well, they don't. I mean, and they do shut it down. And it ends up being, I think it's just a lie. Like, Harper tells Juliet that. And Juliet doesn't know what to think, right? Because Ben's lied to her before. And she's already betrayed Ben at this point, and Ben kind of knows it. So she doesn't know what to think. But, yeah, so there's, like, for the longest time, there's kind of this question mark of, is Naomi good or bad? What is your conclusion on that?
Well, so... First time watching, I didn't know if I liked Naomi or not. I think that... And then my second run through, I was like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. Because I had concluded that I like Charlotte. I concluded that I don't like Alana. But Naomi, I was still like, do I like her or do I not like her? And I've decided I don't like her. Like, she had a lot of potential. But I do think that she was bad because of... just kind of like the excuse for Penny. I don't know.
She's not honest.
She's not honest, and she was like definitely in on killing everyone on the island, for sure.
She's the one that recruits Miles.
And then she gets, stabbed in the back, and she proceeds, like, she makes a whole fake trail for them to follow of blood, and then tries to kill Kate, if I'm not wrong, and then tells them that she's being held by gunpoint, which is the thing that sets off Daniel and all those people to come. But I think, overall, I think she could have been such a good character if she was like, a good guy, or like if she knew, oh, this is what they're gonna do, or maybe if she was not being told the whole truth about killing everybody.
Yeah, they could have made that a bit more complex, but I think part of the dilemma is, we're supposed to like Locke, right? And it's absolutely shocking to see Locke throw that knife at Naomi to stop her from calling the freighter. Because, I mean, Locke, he's a good guy. He couldn't even kill his own father. Like, it is odd to me that he couldn't even kill his dad, who had caused all the misery and all the loss. He couldn't do it. He had to get Sawyer to do it, and yet he can do that to Naomi.
I think that's because the island is so important to him. Like, it's just the most important thing to him. And if Naomi calls that freighter, he thinks that, then everything's gone. Then the island is going to be destroyed.
And not just the island, but everybody on it. So, I mean, from a morality sense, like, it is better to kill one person to end one life if doing that is going to save countless others, which is what he truly believes. And
I know, and it makes me so mad. But it didn't work.
I know, but
Jack still called the freighter.
Because then Jack just picks up the phone and calls it. Like, way to go, Jack. But if Locke could have prevented her from calling the freighter, all those lives would have been spared.
Especially Charlie, Tom. That's it, I think.
Well, no, think of all the people that die as a result of the freighter coming to the island. Like,
who?
I mean,
Neil?
Almost everybody.
No,
like,
it's time travel.
Other than who's left, right? Like, at the end. So, and, that's why they all get left behind.
I think someone sent you a message.
As usual, it's just part of the show that people have to try to contact me.
Yeah, like, stop trying to ask for guest appearances. We don't want to have you on our podcast. We're not about that.
I mean, we do have a few guests on, but it's like, you really have to, be special.
Be super special.
Yeah. It's like, being a candidate, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
That's kind of our...
But what I was going to kind of say about Naomi is maybe we're supposed to be a little bit ambivalent towards her because she does die as the result of those injuries, right? Like Locke effectively kills her. So if we really loved Naomi and thought she was like great, then, you know, it would be difficult, right? Because Locke is one of the main protagonists of the show.
Oh, and we also have to bring up the wig.
Yeah, so in the flashback episode for Miles, we see Naomi again, and we see how she tries to recruit him to come on this trip. And it just looks like a wig.
It just looks
and
like a
I
wig.
can't understand it, because why would she need a wig? I mean, unless she was like, had shaved her head for some other project, but it's a real hair on the island, I think. But it really looks like a wig.
It's just not quite the right color, and it's not the right shape either. I'm also going to bring up my theory, which I think when I just started watching Criminal Intent, I thought that Nicole Wallace looked like Naomi.
Oh, is that who it was?
I think so. Now my opinion has changed on that, but you better put up the pictures.
Okay.
The comparison.
I'll try to
pictures.
find, like, two that really, really work.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just the British, but I don't know.
But it is a sad end for Naomi.
Yeah.
And it really is.
Like, I'm still conflicted on whether or not I like her, but maybe that's her point. Maybe.
And I mean, it's too bad in a way, like, she dies and her death is kind of meaningless because, like you said, I mean, it
Doesn't
didn't
matter
work,
anyway,
right?
yeah.
Because Jack called the freighter regardless. So that's Naomi. Then we'll move on to Charlotte, who we did, of course, talk about a little bit in last week's episode. So just fill us in on her backstory.
So she was one of the many Dharma children. I think we have 4 main, like, Dharma children that are very prominent in the story, and, like, she's one of them.
Yeah.
Which is a big shock. Actually, it's kind of a big shock whenever there's someone who was, you know, part of that project when they were younger, but she was definitely a shocker because she is an anthropologist, and I was right about that. We were having
I thought she was an archaeologist, but then I looked it up
and I remember because in my history project they asked me to name an anthropologist, and I named Charlotte Staples Lewis. And
so why did she become an anthropologist?
So she's on the search for the place she was born. She thinks she imagined it.
Well, that's what her mom tells
place.
her, that it was, she imagined it.
But, like, Charlotte knows, no, like, it's got to be somewhere. And then she's very intrigued by this plane crash. She doesn't believe it, that it's, like, that the plane crashed in the ocean. And so then she eventually just gets on, I don't know, it doesn't tell us how she gets to the freighter, but she gets on the freighter, and she is one of the people to drop on the island first. And it doesn't take her that long to realize this might be the place where I'm born.
Yeah, and so it is mysterious when we see her kind of arrive there, and she's looking around with just this sense of wonder, and she seems so excited to be there, and so we know something is up. There's also a brief little flashback with her in, Tanzania or whatever, where they find a polar bear skeleton
with the
Dharma collar. And so it's sort of like, why would this polar bear? And at the time, we don't know why. It seems like very strange, but why would a polar bear be in?
The time travel, the Dharma Initiative project.
That's where you land, right? When you go in the Orchid and you go in that microwave thing. And so obviously they tested it on some polar bears, and they wound up in Tanzania. It's actually, I didn't know if I liked Charlotte either, because like Naomi, you're sort of wondering if she's good or bad. Daniel just seems so, I don't know, like sympathetic, and you want to believe that he's good. And he's actually a little bit more honest about it. Like, he doesn't pretend that they're there for a rescue mission. Like, when they confront him directly, he kind of dodges the question, but I don't think he lies about it, right? Whereas Charlotte is like, what's wrong with you people? Like, we're trying to get you rescued. And it's like, well, no, you're not. She's got her own personal agenda for being there because she's trying to find her birthplace. And I mean, think about like what that would be like, having all of these memories and then being told that you imagined it. And I don't know if you ever have that, like where you have these memories from your childhood, but you don't actually know if they happened or not, or if it was like a dream. Or
I had that for the longest time about that water park until you moved here.
Yeah. Same as me, like I had this memory of there being kind of a stream of water at Kinsman Park, but then there isn't one now. So then for years I was like, did I just dream that or imagine that? But then I saw a picture from like years ago, and yeah, there did used to be water there. So it's probably like that for Charlotte.
Nostalgia is such a weird.
So for her, it would be a real.
Because she was there until she was like 5.
Yeah.
So, and like Miles, he wouldn't remember that stuff because he was just a baby. But, and same with, well, if Daniel even was born on the...
Yeah, we don't really know.
On the island, but, yeah.
Yeah, so I can understand why Charlotte has this mission and this need to go back. But that doesn't mean that it's a good mission, right? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we talked about Daniel falls in love with Charlotte. Charlotte is the first one to be affected by the symptoms that everybody starts to get.
When the time travel starts.
Yeah, those time travel jumps. Because the longer you've been on the island, or the more time you've spent on the island, the more severely you're affected. And, she spent the first at least 5 years of her life there. So it's unfortunate that it's kind of a tragic ending for Charlotte, because she was so excited to be on the island again, but then in the end sort of concludes like, this place is death, right? Like, don't bring anybody back here, Yeah, it is a pretty bad death scene. Like, she's really suffering.
And it's just such a powerful performance, too.
And then, and then...
Good job.
Yes.
What's her name?
I can't think of it. And it's like very, very intriguing and sad when, she really, like, as she's dying, does remember. Because when you die of this time-traveling sickness, like, you're jumping to different points in your past. And so in these flashes, she does remember being on the island, and she remembers Daniel actually telling her, you have to leave and not come back. But then we do see her again in the Sideways. And so what is your opinion of Sideways, Charlotte?
It's complicated, because I like Charlotte. She's a great character, but Sawyer is like going on a blind date and it's Charlotte.
Yeah, Miles sets them up.
And
so what happens on this date?
They like fall in love or whatever.
Well, so they sleep together, and then
she pretty much just gets kicked out once she.
Well, because I think she's looking for a shirt to put on or something, and then she ends up finding. So remember, in the Sideways, Sawyer is actually a detective. And he is still, though, looking for the man who killed his father, right? Or was responsible, for his parents' death, I should say. And so he's got kind of this scrapbook, and Charlotte finds it, and Sawyer just, like, freaks out and kicks her out. I don't like that, like, they have this, like, they go to bed together after one date. I don't like that.
And I just don't think that they're right for each other.
Yeah, it was never even hinted at, like, on the island.
It was so unnecessary.
And, I mean, frankly, we only want to see, at this point, we only want to see Sawyer with Juliet, right? We want them to be reunited in the Sideways. We don't want him to be with Charlotte. And it doesn't go anywhere after that. But
well, he does try to apologize, but she's like, no, get lost.
Yeah, she's really done with him.
Which I'm glad about. Like, I'm glad that it's not just like, oh, okay. Because I feel like that happens too much in TV.
It does. It's a very good point, especially on some of those, like, 80s, 90s sitcoms. Everybody always makes up at the end of the episode. Like, on Family Ties, like, if there's ever a fight between friends, they always know somehow that, to come to the back door because, like, they're in the kitchen, not in the living room or the front door, and then they make up. And it sort of confused me growing up because I just like kept expecting like, well, yeah, we'll make up, you know, because that's what always happens. But in real life, it doesn't really. There isn't always that knock at the back door. And so Charlotte's having none of it. She's
For
like...
some reason, I think of, like, the house as, like, a square, and the front door's here, and the back door's here. But, like, that's not accurate. Because we never see it from the outside as we do in, like,
That's
Family
true.
Tie, or, like, Full House or
No,
Wonder
what
Years.
does their house look like? We don't know. We never see them from the outside pulling up. We don't even see it in the credits. Like, a lot of those family sitcoms, you see the house in the credits from the outside. But that's a good point. We see...
Boom! Your mind blown. If you've ever watched
set, there's the kitchen set, there's the upstairs, which we don't see as much. There's one when they're in the basement. But yeah, who knows what that house looks like. Anyway, a little bit off topic there. I did also want to mention that Charlotte is very glamorous looking in the Sideways. She's very
Very
pretty.
nice dress.
Yeah.
Very nice, like, curly red hair. And she also has the nice blue eyes.
And I think she might still be an anthropologist because Miles knows her from the museum, right? I think because his dad like runs the museum in the Sideways. There is a nice moment between Charlotte and Daniel backstage at that benefit and a bit of a spark. But other than that, we don't really see much of Charlotte in the Sideways. So those are the freighter people we're going to talk about this week. Next week, we're going to talk specifically about Miles and his dad, Pierre Chang.
And then that will be a nice transition into the Wonder Years of the show. The 70s characters of our, like, wondrous Dharma Initiative members. Like, we've got all the good ones, guys. We've got Phil. We've got Radzinski. We've got...
I think we're just maybe doing Phil and Rosinski, but still, then it will tie up the Dharma. Who else?
There's got to be someone else. There's got to be someone I'm forgetting.
Well, we will, that's what's coming.
We did the Roger one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amy. We didn't do Amy.
Right. Amy. Yeah, we could do, like, the wives, like, club, like Olivia and Amy.
Yep.
That woman sitting next to Rosinski, like, what's going on there?
It's just a meeting.
Yeah, but, like, how did she get the misfortune of, like, sitting... like, Rosinski's just, like, man-spreading all over that couch. Like, she can barely fit on it. He's taking up a lot of room. Anyway, we are going to move on now to one of our regular segments. Usually we have what's called the shout-out. However, this week we're going to have a reverse shout-out. And so what is our reverse shout-out?
Our reverse shout-out is AI. Specifically this AI website that my mother used. My beloved mother, who knows that I'm so against AI.
Okay, but Annie's mom, like Olivia, is a teacher. And she was at sort of a professional development workshop where they were learning about AI. So, it wasn't like she just decided to do this on her own. And they were looking at, something called Notebook LM.
No, don't
Sorry.
promote it.
It's a reverse shout-out, so I'm allowed to mention it. So, what did your mom do?
I don't know. She put in our The Case for Ben podcast.
Which I mean is like, here's Annie's chance to shine. Like, she's always saying justice for Ben, so a very important episode.
It's so important to me. And you know what she does? She makes an AI summary about it.
Well, not only that. Okay,
it's a video.
So first it does a summary. And if you've seen the Case for Ben episode, I'm just going to quickly read the summary. This transcript captures an episode of the Lost Cause podcast, dedicated to building a case for Ben, examining the complex morality of the character, Benjamin Linus, from Lost. The hosts, that's us, review Ben's early manipulative actions, such as coercing Jack, Sawyer, and Kate into helping him resolve his urgent medical need for spinal surgery. Much of the conversation is dedicated to defending Ben's controversial choices, surprise, surprise, arguing that even acts like orchestrating the purge or killing Kimi were ultimately done out of loyalty to the island and Jacob, not purely for selfish gain. The podcast analyzes his eventual journey towards redemption, emphasizing his emotional devastation over the death of his daughter Alex and his capacity for selfless choices in the sideways reality. Ultimately, the hosts conclude that Ben is a complex, foundational character whose many emotional layers and personas are crucial to the show's success. So, like, that's a pretty good summary of the episode. And not only that, but it made this little, like, video lesson.
But the video was all wrong because all the pictures were AI generated.
Yeah,
It made me
but
mad.
I mean, you know, like, whatever. Our podcast is still better than the AI version because the AI version doesn't have any of our banter. It doesn't have any of our bloopers, you know? So it's a reverse shout out because, like, we don't want AI taking over this podcast.
You're not going to be able to do it. There's no way you're ever going to be able to do it.
Nice try, AI.
Nice try.
And so that brings us to everybody's favorite segment, What's Up With That?
It's like, what's up with that?
Our What's Up With That is this... Actually, should I just, like, pull up the photos?
I'll put the photo
You'll
on.
put the photos on. Yeah, so I was scrolling, as I, normally do, because I'm such a screenager. And I found, like, this comparison chart to Lost and this show called... Is it Once or is
I
it
think
Once
it's called
Upon
Once
a Time?
Upon a Time, yeah. But I think people call it Once for short, like the fans.
And there were just so many same actors in
Yes.
it. Like, it's similar to when I was really deep into my Lord of the Rings era. That was kind of my transition from that to Marvel
It's
because
true,
there was
yeah.
so much
Overlap, yeah.
overlap.
Just with the casting, yeah.
But like, there's just so much in.
Like, give us a few examples. Who appears on both
So
shows?
like, it's really so I think Saeed's in it, Claire's in it, Juliet's in it, Hurley's in it.
I think you said even Rzinski.
Yes, Radzinski's in it.
Maybe Charlotte?
I think Charlotte's in it.
Yeah.
And then also some lady in the Looking Glass and young Saeed. Like,
right.
it's got random little characters and also really big characters, and it's really cool to me that there's, like...
Yeah.
But that's not even the best part.
Yeah, so Annie tells me this, and I'm like, well, what's the connection? Like, this is just too many. Is it the same casting director? Like, what is it? And I guess it's just some of the writers, two of the writers. So the creators of Once Upon a Time were writers for Lost. So not only do they, use a lot of the same cast members, but...
You say it.
Oh, it like might even be the same universe because there's references to, like, the Apollo chocolate bars.
Ajira Air, I think.
Ajira Air and Oceanic, Geronimo Jackson. I think we see the numbers at different points as well. So kind of makes us want to start watching Once Upon a Time.
We'll probably do that. So that's our What's Up With That and kind of a shout out to that.
Yeah, because we think that that's really cool. And I mean, that's kind of how you started watching Criminal Intent because you knew that Michael Emerson and Terry O'Quinn had, like, appeared as guests, and so
some episodes are better than others with the Lost characters.
Yeah, for sure. But
don't watch the one with Tanya Raymond in it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. The theme song is wrong.
Yeah.
Eames has long hair, and Goran's not in it, and Tanya Raymond is not a good, like... It just makes me appreciate Alex 20 times more. I just want Alex back. Can we bring her back? Can we get rid of the freighter? Can we just make that not ever happen, please?
Well, I know, but at least we had, her in the Sideways, which was great. And she was she was like one of the best people on the Getting Lost documentary.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that was our What's Up With That. Like, very strange that, but I do
and
love it.
And good for me for finding it, as usual.
And I do love it when shows that kind of seem to have nothing in common are actually from the same universe. Like, that's also true of DC Comics and Law and Order, because they both refer to, like, in New York, Hudson University, just one example. And, like, there is no Hudson University, but whenever they're investigating a crime at a college on Law and Order, it's always Hudson University. And that also appears in the plot lines for a lot of the DC stories.
You'd have to ask my dad or my brother about the DC part, but...
And then, I forgot to mention this, when I was trying to find a picture of Daniel's journal for last week's episode, somebody had discovered that it is the identical journal, I think, that's on Twilight. Maybe. Yeah. And so they were wondering if that was
Twilight?
some sort of... Yeah.
But when was Twilight made?
Like after Lost, I think, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, they thought it was a bit of a shout out there.
Anyways, now it's time for our hot take.
Yep, hot take.
Hot take, Freighter didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen. And the Freighter takes away from season 4.
Very much.
So much.
Yeah.
And, when I'm trying to find an episode to watch, well, season 1 is great, but, you're not really into the groove of, the actual show yet.
And you get impatient, right, for things to, get going.
Season 2 doesn't have, my favorite things, my favorite characters in it. Season 3, I watch way too much. I've just watched, all the episodes twice.
Because it's so good.
Yes, because it's so good. Season 5, similar story. Way too much watching season 5. Season 6, well, we're not in the good episodes anymore. It's kind of, on a decline. There's the temple that I don't care about. There's the, flock that I don't care about.
But the temple is sort of the season 6 version of the Freighter, right? It's sort of...
But season 4 had so much potential, except I hate the Freighter is the problem. A lot of my hate for the Freighter has to do with Michael and the violence. Yeah. There was just so much violence on the Freighter.
Yeah. And so you're just really tense during those scenes. I don't like it either. And when I watch, I really like season 4, probably more than Annie, because I like the flash forwards a lot. But whenever it goes to the Freighter, I'm like,
and
this.
Ultimately, I end up skipping all of the Freighter stuff when I do watch it, which takes away from the story. But I just hate it that much, and I don't like the characters because there's just Kimi and the captain and Minkowski and Michael, and I don't like Michael.
Yeah, so it's interesting that, we've mentioned before, The Constant is by far, the best regarded episode. I was just showing Annie, another list that came out recently of, the top 10 episodes, not just of Lost, but, episodes all time. And The Constant was, number 1 on this list.
So good job, The Constant. It's not my favorite.
For me, there's parts of The Constant that are just so great, but you sort of have to sit through the Freighter
The
parts,
Freighter,
which,
and I'm not
nobody
even a big fan of Desmond's, time travel aspect of that, and so I just don't think season 4 is
and just
that great.
A lot of bad stuff happens on the Freighter. It's very unpleasant.
And then there's the bomb.
Yeah, and we think the Jinn is blown up. So yeah, that's why the Freighter. It's really we talk about, every season has a subplot or part of it that kind of takes away from it, and definitely for season 4 it's the Freighter. I don't know why they spent so much time with the Freighter. It gets really old by the end of it. Well, that, if you can hear it, is our signal to conclude this week's episode. So thank you very much for joining us.
She got a new clock. That caught me so off guard.
I know, when I heard it for the first time, I was like, some kind of alarm is going off, but...
The purge!
It's just a bird clock. It's like Charlotte. I have childhood memories of growing up with a bird clock, so I wanted to revive that. So thank you very much for joining us. As we said, next week we're going to talk about another character from the Freighter, Miles, and his dad, Pierre Chang, aka Dr. Marvin Candle.
Who I've met!
And speaking of, maybe you should do it this week, Dr. Marvin Candle.
Oh no, it's our tradition. You do it.
I will sign off with Namaste.
And see you in another life.